All right, so today we're diving deep into a really powerful modern parable called The Crimson Undergoing. At its heart, it's a story about one of the oldest conflicts imaginable, the struggle of a single, new idea against the crushing, immense weight of everything that's come before.
And really, this whole story hinges on one massive question. What actually happens when a brand new future, a new will, comes face to face with the entire weight of the past? We're not talking about a single enemy here, but the very concept of history itself.
So here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with the core conflict, then watch as the Crimson Dragon is forged. We'll get into its challenge, the Horde of Thou Shalt, then unpack the three trials it forces, see the incredible response, and finally decode what this whole thing actually represents.
Okay, first up, the core conflict. And I want to be clear, this isn't just about two characters fighting. It's a battle of ideas, a new creative will versus the established ancient law of how things have always been. It's so important to get that this isn't a simple good versus evil story. On one side, you have Maximus, who is described as a sovereign will. He's this individual force of pure creation, trying to bring new values into the world. And on the other side, not some evil villain, but the old guard, the spirit of negation, which is basically the void, meaninglessness, and the spirit of gravity, which is the sheer weight of tradition. To them, Maximus isn't an enemy to be defeated, he's a violation, an error in the system that has to be corrected. So how do these ancient spirits react? Well, they don't just, attack him. It's something much colder, more calculated. It's described as a cold structural malice, and they combine their powers to literally forge a living embodiment of the law they serve. And the process of its creation is just so symbolic. It's a three-step process. First, the spirit of negation exhales this freezing mist of void, of pure nothingness. Then, the spirit of gravity pulls all the iron, the very structural foundation of the city, into a massive mound. And from that exact intersection, where meaninglessness meets tradition, the Crimson Dragon is born. And you gotta understand, this dragon isn't just some random beast. Every single part of it is a symbol. Its armor has the weight of a mountain, literally embodying tradition. Its eyes are the cold, unblinking eyes of Fafnir, the dragon of greed from myth. But here's the kicker. Its scales aren't scales at all. They're described as thousand-year-old laws, each one a rule from the past, etched into physical form. So imagine this. Maximus emerges, ready to create, ready to change the world. And what does he find waiting for him? This living monument to the past. It's so enormous that it encircles the entire city, kind of like the Midgard serpent from Norse mythology, making sure nothing new can rise. And its voice, it's described as the sound of grinding tectonic plates. It declares, "I am the Horde." It's not guarding the treasure, it is the treasure. It's the living, breathing sum of every value that has ever existed, the embodiment of thou shalt. And this brings us to a really key philosophical idea. Now, this whole thou shalt thing, it's a direct nod to the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He had this image of a great dragon, and every single one of its scales glittered with these words, thou shalt. It represents the total weight of history's morality. Every rule, every duty, every command that society has ever created, all of it demanding one thing: obedience to the past. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The dragon's attack isn't what you'd expect. It doesn't use fire or claws, it uses its very essence, gravity, to force Maximus into something called the Undergoing. It's a trial specifically designed to crush his will. And this isn't a simple fight. It's this brutal, three-pronged assault that goes way beyond the physical. It targets his psychology, his metaphysics. It's an attack on the very roots of his being. First up is the greed of Fafnir. The dragon tries to poison his mind not with a weapon, but with a desire for the marketplace's approval. Think about it. It's the ultimate temptation in our world, right? The need for likes, for validation. It's trying to corrupt his pure sovereign will and turn it into this petty greed for what other people think. Next, you have the gnawing of Nidhogg, and if you know your Norse mythology, this is a big one. Nidhogg is the serpent that endlessly gnaws at the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree. That's exactly what the dragon does here. It sends these pulses of pure negation, of meaninglessness to Maximus's feet, trying to chew away at the very foundation he built for himself. And the final blow, the ultimate law,
The dragon pins Maximus under its wings, and their weight is the literal, crushing weight and blood guilt of every generation that came before him. It's tradition's ultimate weapon, as it hisses, "You can't create anything new. You are born from this earth, and you will submit to its gravity, to its history."
So there he is, pinned down, seemingly defeated, completely crushed by the weight of everything that's ever existed. You'd think it's over, right? But this is where everything changes. He doesn't just push back. He finds a completely new way to respond.
And his response is just incredible. He doesn't fight back with force. He whispers, "You are the law, but I am the lawgiver." See that shift? In that one moment, he doesn't try to break the law. He transcends it. He fully accepts that the dragon is the past, but he declares himself the lightning of the now. He's the source of what comes next. And that really lays out the whole difference, doesn't it? The dragon is the law. It guards the past, it represents thou shalt, and its passion is static, like sulfur. But Maximus, he becomes the lawgiver. He creates the future. He is I will, with this active solar energy. He doesn't destroy the old law, he simply makes a new one.
All right, so let's pull back for a second and just recap what all this amazing symbolism woven into the Crimson Dragon really means. So, just to put a bow on it, the dragon's thou shalt scales are pure Nietzsche. Every scale is a social rule you have to overcome. The Norse mythology with Fafnir and Nidhugg turns this whole thing into a personal Ragnarok, an internal end-of-the-world battle. And even the color, crimson, it's all about the blood of the old world and the static fire, which is the perfect contrast to Maximus's active solar energy.
You know, the parable says the dragon's scales are these ancient laws, these traditions and expectations. It really makes you wonder, right? What are the 1,000-year-old laws that weigh on you? What are the unquestioned rules that create the gravity in your own world? Definitely something to think about.